Every moment spent with you, even in silence, was a piece of my heart telling you how much I care. The love I feel for you was never in doubt, only in how I could find the courage to share it with you. Even when I couldn't express it, my heart knew this love was real, and it always has been. You've been the constant in my heart since day one, even though I didn't tell you at the time. It took me time to understand, but I've always loved you, even before I knew what love truly was. I kept my love for you silent, but it never diminished. It only grew stronger with each passing day. Sometimes the most powerful love is the one that stays quiet, waiting for the right moment to speak. From the very first moment, I knew you were meant for me, but I didn't have the words then to tell you. The love I had for you wasn't something I could express easily, but it was always there, unspoken and strong. Every day, I loved you more than I could say. My silence was never a lack of feeling. It was a deep, unspoken truth. I loved you long before I could find the right words, but those words were always in my heart. Even when I didn't say it, you were always in my thoughts, and my love for you was always present. I didn't need to tell you how I felt. My heart was always speaking the truth that words couldn't. The love I had for you wasn't something that needed to be said. It was something that lived in every glance, every smile. You were the one my heart called out to, even when I didn't know how to express that love. Though my words remained silent, my heart never stopped whispering how much I loved you. Sometimes love is hidden beneath layers of fear and uncertainty, but it was always there, waiting for the right moment. I never told you then, but my heart knew from the first time we met that you were the one. The silence between us wasn't because I didn't care. It was because I loved you too much to risk losing you. I've always loved you in ways that went beyond words. My feelings were as constant as the air I breathe. Though I kept my feelings hidden, every action, every look, was my heart trying to tell you how deeply I felt. I loved you from the very first day we met, even when I didn't have the strength to say it. In the quiet moments, my love for you grew louder, even though I couldn't speak it out loud. I kept my love for you in my heart, locked away in the hope that one day I would find the courage to share it. You've always been the one, even when I couldn't admit it. My love for you never wavered. The feelings I had for you were always real, even when I kept them hidden, too afraid to tell you. I loved you in silence, and even though you couldn't hear it, I know you felt it in every quiet moment. I've loved you since the very first time we met, and that love has only deepened as time has passed. I didn't need to tell you then because my heart already knew what it wanted. It wanted you. From the very beginning, my heart knew the truth. It loved you even when I couldn't speak it. I've always loved you, and even when I didn't tell you, you were always in my heart. It wasn't that I didn't want to tell you. It was that my love for you was too big to fit into mere words. The love I have for you has always been a quiet force, one that I couldn't contain even when I didn't share it. I loved you even before I knew what love was. And though I didn't tell you, you've always been my everything. Sometimes love needs time to grow into something that can be spoken, but I have always loved you from the first moment. I held my love for you close, not because I didn't care, but because I needed to find the right way to show it. You've always been the one I loved, even when I couldn't say it. My heart always knew the truth. I've always loved you, even in the spaces where I stayed quiet, where I kept my feelings hidden. The silence wasn't an absence of love. It was a waiting room, a place where my love for you was patiently growing. I've been loving you since the very first day, and though I didn't tell you then, I hope you felt it in my actions. In every unspoken moment, my heart whispered to you the words I couldn't say. I loved you long before I knew how to express it, and that love still lives within me, even in silence. There's a love that doesn't need to be spoken. It's felt in the quiet moments, in the spaces between our words. Even when I didn't tell you, I was always showing you how much I loved you through every gesture, every thought. You've been the one I loved all along, even when I didn't have the courage to tell you. I've loved you from the very first moment, and now that I have the words, I want you to know how deep that love goes. In every glance, every moment, I loved you, though I couldn't find the right words to express it. I've loved you quietly, waiting for the day when I could finally tell you what my heart has always known. Sometimes the love we carry for someone is too big for words, and the silence becomes a silent promise to them that we were always there, even when they didn't know. From the first moment I saw you, my heart knew, but my fear held back the words that were desperate to escape. You were always the one I loved, but I was too afraid to speak it, too uncertain to act on it. In the quiet of my heart, you've always been there, waiting for the right moment to unfold. I loved you long before I could admit it, but it was in the silence that I learned to love you even more. The love I feel for you has been hidden beneath the surface, patiently waiting for for the moment when it could no longer stay in the shadows. I have loved you since the first day I met you, but it took me time to gather the courage to speak it aloud. My heart has been holding on to you quietly, and even when I didn't tell you, I hope you felt the pull of my love. You were always the reason for the smile I couldn't explain, the warmth I couldn't describe, and the love I couldn't confess. In the moments I stayed quiet, I was only waiting for the right time to say how much I truly loved you. You've been the subject of my unspoken thoughts and secret smiles. I loved you then, and I love you still. It was never that I didn't love you. It was that I didn't know how to tell you just how deeply I felt. Even before I found the words, my heart already knew how much I was falling for you. I've been carrying the love for you in the secret corners of my heart, waiting for the perfect moment to share it. The love I have for you is the quiet kind that doesn't demand to be spoken. It's always there, waiting. Each day I spent not telling you how I felt was a day my heart silently whispered its truth. I loved you in a way words couldn't capture. My silence was simply the space where my love lived. Before I knew what to say, my heart was already speaking the words I couldn't yet form. I didn't tell you right away because I was afraid, but that didn't change how I felt. In my silence, there was a love so loud that it resonated deep within me, even when I couldn't share it. I have loved you since day one. I just needed time to find the courage to tell you. The moment I saw you, I knew, but my heart needed time to trust that you would feel the same. The love I carry for you isn't new. It's just been waiting patiently for me to find the words to say it. I didn't speak my feelings because I was afraid of being wrong, but I have never been wrong about loving you. I have loved you from the first glance, and even though I couldn't tell you then, you've always had my heart. It's not that I didn't love you from the start. It's that I needed to find the right moment to speak the truth. In the quiet moments, I've loved you more than words could say, more than I could ever express. I may not have told you then, but every part of me knew from the very first day that you were the one. The first time I saw you, my heart made a promise to love you. I just didn't know how to tell you yet. I loved you before I even understood how deeply I could feel for you. Even when I didn't say it, every smile, every glance was my heart speaking the love I had for you. There's a love that doesn't need to be spoken. It exists quietly, growing stronger with each passing day. Sometimes, love is something we feel, before we can even say it. And sometimes it takes time to find the courage to speak. I've carried this love for you since day one, always waiting for the moment to let it out. My heart knew I loved you before I could even admit it, and that love only grew stronger with time. The love I have for you is the kind that doesn't need to be told. It is felt in the quiet moments between us. I didn't tell you because I didn't know if you would understand, but deep down, I always knew you were the one. I have loved you from the moment we crossed paths, even if I didn't have the words to express it. My feelings for you were always there, quietly growing with every interaction, waiting for the right time to come to light. Before I could say it, I was already living in the love I had for you, silent but undeniable. I loved you then, and I love you now, even though I didn't know how to say it at the time. In every look, every touch, there was a love I couldn't express, but that never meant it wasn't there. Sometimes love is quiet because we don't know how to voice it, but that doesn't make it any less real. You've been in my heart long before I found the courage to say how I feel. I've been in love with you all along, even when I couldn't say it out loud. From the very first day, I knew you were special, but I was too afraid to tell you how deeply I loved you. The words I wanted to speak were locked inside, but my heart never stopped loving you.